Let us study force and the Newton's three laws of motion. So to start with, let's see what made Newton come out with the three laws. Basically, Newton studied what Galileo has produced in his study on motion. Galileo studied motion and its behavior like distance, speed, time, and perhaps he may be the first one to understand the concept of acceleration. He tried to understand also the cause of motion. So we know the cause of motion can be due to some simple things like pull, push, or hit of an object. So in practical purposes, if we move an object which is stationary, then we just push it, then the object moves. But then we are yet to understand relationship between motion and force. So to understand it better, the Galileo's experiment may help us. The relation between motion and force. He did an experiment in which he took a marble on an inclined plane and move it downwards, and there is another upward inclined plane for upward motion of the marble. So the marble hits the ground and goes back. It travels till it reaches the same height. So what we mean by the same height? Now if we increase the inclined path, rather decrease the angle of inclination with the horizontal line, the marble covers more distance as it has to reach the same height. As you see here, the height is the same where distance to which the marble travels. Basically, the marble is thrown down a smooth inclined plane and it bounces back and reaches a distance on the upward inclined plane till it reaches the same height. Now we assume here that there is a zero unbalanced force, so it reaches to the top. Now let us say the angle of inclination is reaching that of the horizontal line, then the marble will be somewhere here and it keeps traveling till it reaches the height. So there is no way this marble which is traveling on the horizontal plane will reach that height. It will stop somewhere in practice. Why? Because there is something called a frictional force which is acting on it in opposite direction. Until and unless we find something which is so smooth that there is no friction, which is not possible. There is a relationship now between the force and the motion, the movement of the object. So this particular understanding of the relationship made Newton come out with his three laws of motion. When he studied what Galileo's ideas on motion and force, he came out with three laws of motion. Let us now see what the laws state and then go in detail about each law. The first law of motion states that first law of motion states that an object continues to be in a state of rest or of uniform motion along a straight line unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. And the second law of motion, the rate of change of momentum of an object is proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of the force. So third law of motion states that to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, and they act on two different bodies.